Hey, thanks for coming back. You know, I've been carrying for many years, carrying concealed, and I carry every day concealed. And I carry frequently when I travel around the country, either in a car or by air. And I get asked a lot by people who say, you can do that? Meaning you can actually carry a firearm when you travel by air? And the answer is, yeah. And it's easy. And it's legal, because somebody says, is that legal? Well, you can't carry on the plane, no. But you can certainly bring your firearm with you, whether it's a rifle or a pistol. However, there are some things that you need to do, you have a responsibility to do before you decide to do that. The first is, do you carry enough in your home location that you would not make logistic or tactical mistakes in the place where you're going. And that has to do with how you carry, how you conceal, how you dress, the holster, you know, those kind of things. But before you leave your house, you need to know what the rules are for your airport. Some states, you can carry your pistol anywhere in the airport until you get to TSA, which is the security area. But this isn't really relevant to that, because you are going to be checking a bag, and your firearm must be in your checked bag. So we'll get to talk about that. Before you do anything, before you leave, you really do need to check what the laws are in the state or states in which you're going to be arriving or traveling in. The best site that I found to get information about that is handgunlaw.us. It has everything you need to know about all the laws in all the states, and I'm going to give you some tips in a minute on what to look for, because they end up being very important. Then we'll talk about what the process is for a pistol. You have a handgun, you want to take a handgun in your check bag and then to the place where you're going to be traveling. So stand by. We'll get to it. Let's talk about the airport in your destination. This is part of the state laws that you're going to research. In some states, you can carry once you get to baggage. In other words, if you get your bag, you get your gun, you can go into the restroom, saddle up, and go to your rental car. Very few states allow that, mine does, but very few states don't. So my counsel to you, first check the law in the states that you're going to be traveling to, and just decide if you're going to saddle up at a gas station somewhere, so that you're armed while you're driving. So that's the first thing. The next thing to check, and again, this is in the state you'll be traveling, is reciprocity. Does the state where you're traveling to respect your concealed carry permit? Because some states don't, and you need to know that. Becoming very few that don't have reciprocity. They're the usual suspects, but you really do need to check that, because if they don't have reciprocity for your concealed carry, then you're going to have to leave your firearm at home. When you get to where you're going, what are the restricted areas? What are the restricted places where even if you have a concealed carry permit, you cannot carry? And that varies a lot by state. In my state, unless I'm in a jail somewhere, I can carry anywhere I want. In other states, you can't carry if 50% of the revenue in a restaurant is by booze. I mean, there's those kind of things. So you really do need to do your research on the state and where you cannot carry. Some states require signage. I was traveling. I was in a really nice hotel. I was at the bar, restaurant bar, and I went to the bar to sit down, have my food there. And behind the bartender was this big sign. To paraphrase it, it is a felony to sit at this bar if you have a gun. So I went, oops, and went and sat at a table in the restaurant area. Again, I didn't do my research, and do your research first before you go to a state, or you could end up with a surprise. Now, there are some states where they allow a business or some private entity to post a no guns allowed sign. In many states, that doesn't mean jack. It means nothing. You can go in there, concealed carry as much as you want. You could even go in open carry, and if nobody says anything to you, hey, no big deal. However, if someone does see you and they do ask you to leave, then you must leave. Otherwise, it's a trespassing offense. In some states like Texas, where if there's a sign posted and it meets certain graphic requirements, that sign has the force of law. So if you go in and you are detected and someone decides they want to call the cops on you, which they can do, then you, by crossing that sign, you have committed a crime. Sometimes it's a misdemeanor, sometimes it's a felony. So you, again, research the state. My rule is, if I'm concealed carrying and it's someplace that I want to go into, I don't care about the sign, I'll go in. If I get caught, hey, sucks to be me. If I'm with friends or I'm with other people and I don't want to get them harassed, then I'll say, hey, look, let's find someplace else because I can't go in there. And in every case, folks have been very understanding. But again, do your research on the rule of signage. What's the other one? Oh, in some states, you are required, if contacted by a law enforcement person, to tell them you are carrying concealed if you in fact are carrying concealed. If you're not, you don't have to say anything. In some states, you do not have to notify the law enforcement people. My personal practice, if I'm contacted by a law enforcement person and I'm carrying, I always let them know, whether I'm walking somewhere or whether I'm driving a car. I always let them know I have a concealed carry permit. I am in fact carrying. My hands are in plain sight. And I say, officer, how would you like to proceed? And now ball's in their court on what they want to do. And they, most of the time, if you do that, they're very understanding. Now, we're going to pause here, and then I'm going to show you what the process looks like when you go to the airport and what kinds of things that you need to have your firearm in. Be back in a second. One of the things that you must have if you're carrying a handgun, and that is going to be in your check bag, whatever the container is, must be a hard side, lockable case, and you are the only one that has the key or the combination to get into that case. So I have two types in front of me. The one on the right is a standard case that comes with most handguns. It is hard cased and lockable. Lockable means that you have holes here where you can put some kind of padlock. Now what's also important is I would use one padlock and then I would get a small cable and then cable this, and I'll show you an example of that. Cable this inside the bag that I'm going to be checking. You also want to look at the hinges because TSA will look at them to make sure that they're not easily damaged and thwarted so that someone could open the case and take the firearm. But that's just common sense. Most cases are like that. This other one is my safe. In this safe, it is a combination smart safe. And you are the only one that should have the combination to this. You will not give it to
the TSA person. In both cases, the TSA person will ask you to open up the case and they will inspect the firearm. Make sure that your firearm is unloaded before you put this in your bag. Don't wait till you get there and go, oh crap, I have to unload my gun. Right? You can have ammo in a magazine. What you cannot have is ammo outside of a box, just raw rounds floating around inside. They will take those and confiscate them. They won't confiscate the gun. Now, the other thing is that this case comes with a cable. And the reason for that, I'm going to show you in a second, because you want to be able to secure the container inside your check bag. So to recap, you have this type of case, which is just a lockable case, and you have this type, which is a safe. I like the safe because I can keep it in my hotel room or in the car. Keep in mind that these type that are electronic, whether it's a fingerprint or a code or both, have lithium batteries inside. Before you put this in your check, you cannot have a lithium battery in any device inside your check bag. So you're going to have to remove the lithium battery, put it in your carry-on bag, and make sure you have the physical key to unlock your safe. Just saying. Now the reason for the cable is so that you can secure your case or safe to your carry-on bag. Now, I prefer the kind of rollerboard where it has these frames inside for the carry handle. And I just take the cable, secure it around there, and then bring it, secure it to the safe, close the safe, and it goes in the bag. And when you get to TSA, you're going to take it out. The TSA person is going to do their little magic thing with their swab, and then they will ask you to unlock your case or your safe, and then they will do the same thing with that.
Now that was a little bit out of sequence, but I wanted to show you how important it is in how you might secure your firearm before you leave to go to the airport, because you really need to get that done before you leave home. Now once you get to the airport, you go to the check-in counter, the ticket counter, where you would normally get your boarding pass. And even if you already have one electronically, you're still going to have to go to the ticket counter, the check-in counter. And what you say to the person there is, they're going to say, where are you traveling to? And you're going to, tell them. And then you say, I have a bag to check and I have a firearm to declare. And they go, cool. And what they'll do is they'll hand you a little card. This happens to be one from United. They vary a little bit. But on the back it says, you don't have any bad stuff and it's unloaded and safe. And then you sign it and date it. This goes inside the bag, not the safe or your container, but inside the bag. And once you sign this and they give you your boarding pass, one of two things will happen with your bag. In some airports, and it varies, they will take your bag and put this inside the bag and you get to go on about your business. In some cases, at some airports, they may say, excuse me, don't go check in yet through the TSA line. Wait here for about 20 to 30 minutes because TSA may need to call you to ask you to unlock the safe or the case. That doesn't happen everywhere, but just for planning purposes, add an extra 30 minutes because you don't know when TSA changes their process. They may ask if they just take your bag at the baggage check-in. Sometimes they'll say, go on, no worries. Sometimes they may say, can you wait here because they might need your key? Remember, you're the only one that has access to that safe or access to that case, and that's why that may happen. The other way may be they'll give you back your bag and they'll say, please go over there, see that little booth, go there, and the TSA person will meet you there. So you just walk over and the TSA person comes and they take your bag and then they do the magic swabby thing. They ask you to open it, they ask you to open the case, and then they close it, and then you pack up all your stuff and they take the bag and you go on about your business. So there's two ways that can happen. Neither of them are onerous. It's just something you got to do if you want to have your gun. They don't take a lot of time. You don't get a lot of weird looks from people when you say, oh, I have a firearm to declare. It's as simple as that. So I thought I would give you these tips and what the experience is like. And hopefully this helps you think about whether or not or how you may want to travel by air with your firearm. I want to stress again, you really do need to do research on what the rules are in the state that you're going to be traveling to. That's very, very important. The other thing is that even though you think you have your gun secured inside your checked baggage, always double check before you take it out of the car that firearm is in fact unloaded and safe. That's your responsibility. And it's just one of those, just treat it like a range day. You know, it's your responsibility to do. And the other thing is, and this happens all the time, especially in my state, make sure you don't have another gun on you or in your carry-on bag or in your purse. You have no idea how many people go, face plant, crap. That's a $3,600 fine minimum because the TSA doesn't mess around these days. So just slow down a minute and make sure that you're not inadvertently carrying a firearm where you're not supposed to. So I hope this has been helpful. I wish somebody had told me this before I found all this stuff out. But as always, thanks for watching. Carry on.